is up, guys? It's Scott here from Woke Societies, here to drop another awesome episode of content for you. Today's been a good day. Just some fresh stories that's not Epstein, thank God. That story's just been getting so oversaturated, and it deserves to be. It's very big stuff, but it just feels good to be back on the grind on this every other day schedule with you guys for the episodes. I am glad to be back and operating at full capacity, and I cannot wait to jump into the stories I have for you guys today. We're going to be talking about Space Force. We're going to be talking about the humongous effort by Hillary Clinton that she went to set up her, you can say, her social media campaigns that got her elected, and how far she went. And everyone remembers when she was talking about how she won the popular vote, but it's going to be crazy, guys, when you see how many votes were actually swung her way thanks to Google. And we're going to talk about a doctor that actually helped him and studied with her and set up these campaigns, who's now went public on Twitter and completely called her out, a longtime supporter of Hillary Clinton. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Greenland a little bit, and we're going to get into, at the very end, just a little bit of an Epstein update, nothing much, and then I'm going to show you guys a really funny video of Epstein and Bill Clinton, made by this wonderful creator, and it's absolutely hilarious. So, you guys ready? Because I'm ready. I'm pumped, and I'm ready to do this, so let's jump right into it. U.S. Space Command will launch this month ahead of Trump's Space Force. And let's look, guys. Washington, the Space Force is getting closer to launch. And guys, that is so exciting to hear. Speaking at Tuesday's meeting at the National Space Council, Vice President Mike Pence and Pentagon officials announced that a key step in creating the newest branch of the military would happen next week. The U.S. Space Command officially starts August 29th, serving as the launching pad for the Space Force. They said Air Force General John Raymond has been tapped and confirmed by the Senate as its first leader. The United States Space Force will ensure that our nation is prepared to defend our people, defend our interests, and to defend our values in the vast expanse of space and here on Earth with the technologies that will support our common defense for the vast reaches of outer space, Pence said. Establishment of the Space Force still requires congressional funding and authority, a step Pence said Thursday would happen soon. The Trump administration has cited potential threats from China and Russia as part of the reasoning behind creating a Space Force. Last month, France announced the creation of its own Space Force. For years, Pentagon officials scoffed at the idea. The Air Force, which operates the Space Command, said creating a branch would be costly and disruptive. But the concept has gradually won converts over the years, including President Donald Trump, who signed a directive in February creating the Space Force. And during the signing ceremony in the Oval Office, Trump said he views the new military branch as part of his responsibility to protect the nation. I was put here for security, whether it's Space Force, which I'm doing today, or whether it's borders, the president said. Eventually, an undersecretary or defense for space will be named, and the program, which would start as a division of the U.S. Air Force, would become the sixth armed service, joining the Air Force, Army, Marine Corps, Navy, and Coast Guard. Guys, this is huge stuff. And the reason why I bring this up is because, like I told you guys before, I always want to start sprinkling more UFO stuff, more space stuff, more universe stuff, more cosmos stuff. All that good stuff, right? The Space Force is going to be essentially, in my opinion, how the full disclosure of what's actually been going on in the universe and our solar system for decades, guys. I'm talking decades, at least the 40s and 50s. Of what's been really going on out there, all the divisions that are already created with humans and ETs, as far as different, they're called the Solar Warden, Deep. I think it was called Deep Space. I'm not sure, but there's three other divisions that are already out there, all human and some ET, that are from our solar system. They have technologies, guys, that are years and years advanced ahead of us, as far as how these ships essentially travel between solar systems and different universes. And the first ones that were created were actually submarines. And if you think about it, submarines are the perfect spaceship because obviously how they're designed, they're airtight, and the crew that that is designed to be on a submarine is trained to be underwater for 6 months at a time, sometimes, or maybe even longer. So it's the same thing out in space. So, guys, hearing this is absolutely fantastic as far as the Space Force. I think it's going to, again, bridge the gap between what has been private in these secret space programs for so long and going to link the public, hey, slowly, this is what we've been doing, this is what it looks like now. And because right now, all these space programs out there are mostly run by private corporate entities, like Lockheed Martin, Skunk Works. Boeing's not private, but they are part of this. They are part of it. And they're all pretty much, there's no regulation. These companies can sell their technology to any country that they want, and there's no oversight. Having a division of the military be open, be calling the Space Force, can actually umbrella all that stuff, all these corporations, and umbrella all that technology, all that manpower, and put it under one regulatory force called the Space Force. And it's very, very important that this happens. I mean, just think about it, guys. What if I almost joined the Air Force when I was younger? But just imagine a Space Force being created where you're given the chance to go on these advanced pieces of technology and travel the fucking universe. Yeah, that's probably scary, but at the same time, who would want to sign up for that? Give 8 years, 10 years of your life to go travel the world? Not even the world, travel the universe and the solar systems, meet different species of aliens and do crazy shit. That's an experience of a lifetime. So maybe by the time my son's of age, he'll want to join the Space Force, because that would be awesome. But really good stuff, really inspiring to see. I remember when this came out originally about Trump making a Space Force, I laughed at the idea because I wasn't woke yet. I thought he was just a crazy douchebag, and but now with everything that I know about the space programs, this all makes sense. And Q also talks about these space programs as well. Very, very subtly, but they are mentioned. So, great stuff. So let's continue. This is just a quick article, guys, from Routers. It says, Boeing spacecraft astronauts see new frontier for commercial space. A crew of veteran U.S. astronauts and aviators are training in Houston for a manned mission to the International Space Station aboard Boeing's new Starliner spacecraft, which could also be used to take tourists into space on future missions. The companies with cutting-edge technology are among those poised to benefit most from the enormous growth opportunities many see in the world's burgeoning commercial space industry. NASA is paying SpaceX and Boeing nearly $7 billion combined to build rocket and capsule launch systems for ferrying astronauts to the space station. As you guys know, probably, you're going to have to pay a hefty fee, but I think it's next year. You can actually you can launch yourself to the outer atmosphere, out in space, if you pay for it. I think it's like $250,000. There's probably going to be a shit ton of training you have to go through, medical stuff. But from what it seems like, there is going to be an industry created to get, maybe someday everyday humans out into space and to have that experience. And I just thought it was funny reading this when they're talking about when they're saying NASA is paying SpaceX and Boeing $7 billion combined to build rocket and capsules. Guys, the rocket combustion and rocket fuel, it's all old fucking technology. I've told you guys in my previous videos what kind of technology is out there that's been patented by the Navy. Let's see. All right, guys, sorry about that. I'm back. I don't know where my camera on my face went. It never turned off. So, anyways, moving on. We're talking about when I had mentioned about the rocket fuel and how there's anti-gravity technology out there that doesn't need rocket fuel and can travel light year speed, super fast. And that's how the ships that have already been made, these gigantic ships. It's how they're able to go through universe to universe, from solar system to solar system in no amount of time at all. I just thought it was funny to bring this up because they're still talking about rocket fuel and how much they're paying for it. And once again, I'm hoping once the Space Force is out there, it's in full disclosure mode, and people really see that we don't need rocket fuel anymore. And just like the last video as well, guys, I talked about how the technology and the ETs and the disclosure is the technology is really what the elites don't want out, because it can completely attacks how these elite make money with the fossil fuels. If the anti-technology, zero gravity, zero energy machines come out, that's the end for utility companies and fossil fuel industries, guys. And just think about how many people that's going to affect, as far as the ones who make money on it. So I just thought that was pretty funny that they're paying this much money for a fucking outdated technology. It's crazy. All right, moving on. So I thought this was very interesting, guys, and this totally links the secret space programs, and this gives a spiritual side into what I believe to be true, but I've never really talked about it too much in detail on camera and on episodes like this. But I thought this was a perfect blog post. And he's called Cosmic Christ. The author's Doug Essay, and it's called "The Cabal's Last Trick: A Letter to the Disclosure Community." And I'm going to read this, guys. This is excellent stuff. I would like to affirm the brave women and men who are leading the charge in the disclosure movement. It seems that you have answered the call to put yourself out there to help humanity to uncover what has, until now, been hidden. This brief letter is written in the spirit of solidarity of the full disclosure movement, and it covers what I believe to be the missing piece that hasn't gotten attention yet. It is speculated by the disclosure community, which I include truthers as belonging to this community, that the last thing the Cabal has up its giant sleeve will be either some sort of false alien attack or other false flag event, or they will introduce some advanced alien race who steps forward and offers a new religion for the global masses to follow and thus surrender their sovereignty. This may very well be true. The Cabal is very clever, and they know how to manipulate us so that we willingly give ourselves over to them and follow their agenda, as has been discussed by the disclosure community. Guys, I just wanted to go back to this here where they're talking about how the Cabal, their final card, is going to be setting up the media for an event that if we are introduced to some benevolent aliens or ETs, they're going to paint them as the enemy. And that wouldn't surprise you, right? Because what do the ETs bring? They bring new technology. They just bring a good new way of life for human beings. And to be honest, guys, most of the ETs out there are benevolent. And the reason why I know that, again, is because I've listened to insiders that have actually worked with ETs, like Corey Good, and others that have been part of these space programs on this planet and in other places in the universe. And there are a lot of ETs that want us to advance spiritually. And spiritually is the thing that they mostly focus on. So let's continue here. However, the Cabal or Illuminati is controlled by higher forces that, as we know, are negative ETs whose home density is the fourth density. This means that they may be thousands, if not millions of years more advanced than us and can see more expansively than we can. Their agenda has been to use the Earth Cabal to do their bidding, and I believe these negative ETs have known for a while that the Earth itself will go positive after it shifts into fourth density. The ultimate agenda of the negative ETs' work here on Earth has not been so much to try to make the Earth itself go negative, but to create a spiritual and psychological environment that keeps people away from heart chakra activation so that they do not meet the spiritual requirements for ascension. This will mean that the majority of Earth's third density population must be relocated to other third density planets elsewhere to continue the lessons of third density after the Earth shifts into fourth density positive. And guys, if you're not really too familiar with these topics here, it's totally okay. I encourage you to go out there and look and research for yourself. Corey Good does a lot of work about what these densities mean, and I believe there's up to 7 densities total. And right now, Earth and our universe, human beings, we are third density beings, but as Corey Good describes and David Wilcock describes, our universe right now is moving into a very special part of the universe as far as what energy our universe is going into. This energy is going to be bringing our solar system into a fourth density. And all that's going to be doing is, for the people that are ready spiritually, with their minds, mentally, all that good stuff. We're going to evolve into these fourth density beings, and as a society, as a human race, we are going to be better version, a much better version of ourselves, and it's only going to be beneficial. And that's when they talk about ascension. And ascension is effective, pretty much us as a species moving into just a better situation as a whole. That we're no more wars, no more fighting. We all have technology that is benefiting each other, and our way of life is completely changed permanently for the better. And that is where our universe is slowly going into. So you have these negative ET forces. A lot of the people call them reptilians. I know a lot of this stuff might sound crazy, but guys, I believe it to be true. And these negative forces, they feed on negative energy. Some people call it sloosh. That's another word for it. And as long as the Cabal, the Illuminati, are in control, again, with these child sacrifices, this pedophilia, and all these other terrible things that go on in our world, these beings feed off that energy. And they don't want us to evolve. They want us to stay as third dimensional beings because it benefits them. And we are, that fear, all those negative emotions that humans make is essentially their food. And not all ETs are good. There are negative ones out there, and the negative ones have been here for an extremely long time. So this is just painting a different picture of what most of you guys, maybe it's not, I'm hoping a lot of you already know about this material, but this all goes into the space program stuff and really what is out there and what's being hidden from our society. Whether you're religious or not, it doesn't really matter as long as you're practicing something that is a life of service. That's the best way I could explain it. If you're having a life of service, you're helping your fellow human being. I don't care what religion you practice. I was a Christian. Again, I told you guys I have since gotten away from that, and we'll just see what happens. But that's where I'm going with it. So let's continue here. What is the best way to keep people entrapped in third density energy? The negative ETs know it well. Keep people pointing fingers at others so that they neglect to do their own inner work. And what do you guys see going on right now with our, the government and essentially all the people that Trump has on the ropes right now? They're all pointing fingers at each other saying, no, I didn't do this, they did that, and they're all destroying themselves. We're going to see it when the Pfizer report comes out and the IG report comes out. It's all going to be shown to the public, and it's going to be a huge eye-opening and a huge red pill event for a lot of people that have been dissing Trump. But this is essentially what these ETs want. They want us to keep looking at everyone else as the problem, and they don't want us as a species looking inward and working on ourselves to become the best versions of ourselves spiritually. And guys, I have been meditating for a while now, and it's completely changed my life. And when you start looking into yourself and changing yourself to be a better human being, it's ultimately makes our species a better species. And this is exactly what the ETs don't want. So what am I saying? In short, the handlers of Earth's Cabal want us to scapegoat the Cabal for the problems of the world. Why? Because by scapegoating them, we will be so invested in rooting out their deviousness that we will neglect to see our own great shadows inside each one of us. And this will keep us entrapped down in our lower energy centers. Furthermore, even once the alliance that is fighting the Cabal wins, and they will win, we have to ask for what exactly are we free? There's been so little teaching and training with emphasis on spiritual transformation towards mature stages of consciousness that humanity will resort to what we know best, to savor the win against losers and then proceed to collectively rebuild society with the same consciousness that caused much of our problems to begin with. Freedom to live from our false selves is no freedom at all. And guys, that is a powerful statement. And you can just see throughout history, guys, look at all the civilizations that we have. What happens? They rise and they fall. We war with each other. We fight with each other. Then a new regime takes over the world. And what happens? We fall into the same traps, the same deceit, murder, terrible crimes. Every society has it. It doesn't ever change. And it's because we are not working on ourselves as a species. That is the problem. And that's what this guy's pointing out here. And when we move into that fourth density, It's going to change our lives completely and for the better. And with advanced technology, it's only going to make all of our lives better. So we're not warring with each other and essentially going to bring us to a place where we're not going back and repeating history and making the same mistakes again. So I thought that tied in beautifully. This goes into more of what Ascension really is. It's a really long article. I just want to get the main points out. I'm going to link this in the description so you guys can see it and read the whole article if you want. It's really good. If you guys have any questions on it, please email me at wokesociety111 at gmail. So we're going to change gears here and switch over to something completely different. Now, this article is from 2015, but it is relevant today, and I'm going to tie this into current events that have everything that are related to this. The stealthy Eric Schmidt backed startup that's working to put Hillary Clinton in the White House. And you guys have seen this guy, Eric Schmidt. He's the ex-CEO of Google, who I've told you before has worked with China and is currently working with China. And actually, he created the social credit system that is currently being used in China. This dude is an evil, evil dude. And this article was again from 2015, talking about how he set up her Hillary Clinton's social media campaign and used Google, Facebook, used all of it to go against Trump. So here we go. An under-the-radar startup funded by billionaire Eric Schmidt has become a major technology vendor for Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, underscoring the bonds between Silicon Valley and Democratic politics. The groundwork, according to Democratic campaign operatives and technologists, is part of efforts by Schmidt, the executive chairman of Google parent company Alphabet, to ensure that Clinton has the engineering talent needed to win the election, and is one of a series of quiet investments by Schmidt that recognize how modern political campaigns are run, with data analytics and digital outreach as vital ingredients that allow candidates to find, court, and turn out critical voter blocks. While campaigns lacking stock options and long-term job security find it hard to attract the elite engineering talent that Facebook, Google, and countless startups rely on. That's also part of the problem that Schmidt and the groundwork are helping Clinton's team to solve. The groundwork is one of the Clinton campaign's biggest vendors, billing it more than $177,000 in the second quarter of 2015, according to federal filings. Yet many political operatives know little about it. Its website consists entirely of gray on black triangles logo that suggests the digital roots of change, while also looking vaguely, listen to this guys, like the Illuminati symbol. This is who Hillary Clinton associated herself with as far as creating a campaign for her on the social media networks. Why would it be the Illuminati symbol, guys? The shit's all related. The groundwork was initially based in an office in downtown Brooklyn, just blocks from the headquarters of its biggest client, the Clinton campaign. There, a staff made up mostly of senior software engineers began building the tools and infrastructure that could give her a decisive advantage. Slaby has a reputation for being able to bridge the cultural divide between politicos and techies, and sources say the groundwork was created to minimize the technological gap that occurs between presidential campaign cycles while pushing forward the big data infrastructure that lies at the heart of modern presidential politics. So pretty much, guys, they were building Hillary a perfect online campaign to target any and all supporters, regardless of anything. No one had seen anything like it before. There's also another gap in play: the shrinking distance between Google and the Democratic Party. Former Google executive Stephanie Hannon is the Clinton campaign's chief technology officer, and a host of ex-Googlers are currently employed as high-ranking technical staff at the Obama White House. Schmidt, for his part, is one of the most powerful donors in the Democratic Party, and his influence does not stem only from his wealth, estimated by Forbes at more than $10 billion. So, guys, you have this guy Schmidt completely and totally, utterly working for Hillary Clinton, and he was the CEO, I believe, at the time of Google, where all of our information for most human beings on this planet get their information from. So when you have someone like him and Silicon Valley backing Hillary Clinton, what chance did really Trump have, you know? And they're talking about the popular vote and all this other bullshit, and Trump still ended up winning. And everybody, like me included, couldn't believe it, right? So let's see how deep this went as far as as far as let's see, ex-schooler. Yep. Let's see how far this went as far as the people that were working for Hillary with this campaign and the social media that was being used. What I'm going to be showing here, guys, I retweeted all this on my Twitter. This is probably the most important Twitter thread I've seen about Hillary Clinton in the recent months. This guy is Dr. Robert Epstein, and this is not the bad Epstein, this is the good Epstein. He was in a video of mine probably about 4 weeks ago, and this is when Senator Cruz was talking to him and questioning him about how Google swung votes based on search engine manipulation, and all that stuff. And he's the guy that studied it and helped contribute to it. And recently, I don't know what spurred this on, but Dr. Robert Epstein, who is you're going to see, a longtime supporter of Hillary Clinton, went on a Twitter storm, he called it, and completely destroyed her because at some point, I guess in the last few days, Hillary went out and destroyed Mr. Epstein, who worked for her, and he wasn't having it. So guys, you got to pay attention to all this. This is crazy. So Dr. Robert Epstein, this was the 20th. Tweet storm starting now, getting interrupted from time to time by calls from reporters. I've been caught in the middle of an exchange of tweets between two media titans, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Trump's tweet was slightly wrong. Hillary's tweet was shameful. Trump tweet, point number 1. I've never said that Google deliberately manipulated the 2016 election, but I measured substantial pro-Hillary bias in Google's search results by preserving and analyzing 13,207 election-related searches and the 98,044 web pages linked to those searches. And guys, if you know anything about SEO or search engine optimization, having links, the more links you have, the more outreach you have, and the more you're going to turn up in searches. And to be on 98,044 pages is absolutely insane. Your face is going to be everywhere, no matter what kind of search you're going. What kind of search is coming up. Hashtag Trump tweet. Point number 2. The level of pro-Hillary bias I found on Google search results absent on Bing and Yahoo was enough to convince between 2.6 and 10.4 million undecided voters to vote for Hillary. And he's adding at Real Donald Trump said 16 million. That was wrong. Trump tweet, point number 3. It doesn't matter whether the bias in Google search results was deliberate or not. Once it appeared, which it did at least 6 months before the election, it began shifting opinions and votes without people's knowledge and without leaving a paper trail. Guys, this is dangerous stuff. You have mind manipulation. When you go and vote, you go to your voting machine. That stuff really doesn't matter if you have a vehicle, a technology that can shift minds, and without people even knowing it. This is serious shit, guys. This is right here. It began shifting opinions and votes without people's knowledge, so people weren't even aware, and without leaving a paper trail. How do you track that, guys? How do you account for this? You can't. Scary stuff. If you want the full story about my 2016 election monitoring project, read my essay, which is there. And here he goes. He goes in deep now. Now switching to Hillary Clinton. This is going to hurt me to write because I and my whole extended family have been strong supporters of the Clintons for decades. I have a framed signed letter from Bill on the wall near my desk, but Hillary should be ashamed of herself. Hillary has long depended on Google for both money and votes. Her largest donor in 2016 was Alphabet Google. Her chief technology officer during the campaign was Stephanie Hannon, a former Google executive, and then there's Eric Schmidt, longtime head of Google, the guy in this picture, who we just discussed. The leaked emails showed that in 2014, Google's Eric Schmidt offered to run Hillary's tech campaign. In 2015, Schmidt, in fact, funded the Groundwork, a highly secretive tech company, the sole purpose of which was to put Clinton into office, which we just read about from the article from 2015. About 96% of 2016 campaign donations from Google employees went to Hillary. And Elon Kriegel, Hillary's chief analytics officer, credits his 2012 tech team, informally supervised by Eric Schmidt, for half of Obama's win margin, nearly 2.5 million votes. Hillary, I know you're in Google's pocket, but for the sake of our democracy, I urge you listen to my recent congressional testimony and to scan the 58 essays and conference papers I list at the end of my written testimony. Hillary, if you examine my work carefully, you will find that it adheres to the very highest standards of scientific integrity. You will also conclude, I believe that Google poses a serious threat to the free and fair election and to human autonomy. Guys, you see that word human autonomy? That is what we essentially are as humans. Our way of thinking and to vote, right? We make a decision in our brains to vote for someone that we think is the right person to vote for. He is calling out Google here and Hillary, saying pretty much you are changing people's opinions without them even knowing, and there's no way to track it. So if there was an investigation, there's no way for anyone to investigate you. Does that sound like America, guys? Does that sound like the United States you want to live in? This is somebody that was on her side, a decades supporter. You read it from his own tweet. And he's calling her out. Is that the legacy you want to leave behind, Hillary? Is that what you really want to bank your reputation on? Her reputation shot already, but this came out 2 days ago. And the article here, we're not going to get into it, but it says how the internet flips elections and alters our thoughts. And guys, people want to be directly linked to this technology. With those chips in their brains that I've talked about before, they want to be directly linked to the internet. If they're already doing it without us being linked to it, with just reading it and changing our opinions, what the fuck do you think is going to happen when our brains are chipped and they can directly feed shit to our minds? We cease to become human. I don't know. What do you guys think? Hillary Google poses 3 serious threats to humanity. 1, an obscene level of surveillance across 200 plus platforms. 2, the power to determine what content 2+ billion can or cannot see. Hashtag censorship. And 3, invisible manipulation on a massive scale. And we know this has been going on. Project Veritas has exposed Google for like the 3rd or 4th time now, and how Google mask and shadow bans and changes search engine results in favor of people who they support, and it's very obvious it's the Democratic Party. Hillary, is that what you want your legacy to be? Whistleblowers and leaks from Google have confirmed that the company blacklists, re-ranks, and uses ephemeral experiences, which I study, to control people worldwide. Do you approve of this? Asking her directly. Guys, this is deep stuff. When I was reading this, I was like, oh my god. How many people is this guy red-pilling right now? A strong Hillary supporter is calling her out on this directly with his scientific-backed studies. A guy that worked for her is specifically studying search engine manipulation. And he's calling her out, saying this is not the way to go. This is not the way to go. And you got the fucking Democrats in Silicon Valley in the same bed together, altering votes by the millions. And this was in 2016. They know how much is at stake for 2020. So you can imagine the effort that's going to be pushed forward by big tech and Silicon Valley to get to win the election. It's not going to happen. Trump's going to landslide 2020. There's no doubt about it. But this was crazy stuff, guys. Absolutely crazy stuff. So moving on, gonna get into some other articles real quick. This one was by NBC News, which I thought was hilarious. This was a hit piece put on by NBC attacking the Epoch Times, who is an independent, wonderful news source. And if you guys aren't reading their stuff, you need to start reading Epoch Times. They're a great paper. They're great for information, and they're few sources that I trust. But this article was about Trump, QAnon, and an impending judgment day behind the Facebook-fueled rise of the Epoch Times. And pretty much, guys, I'm not going to read all of this because we've already spent a lot of time on the episode already. But it pretty much talks about how Epoch Times they end up being a independent newspaper that was supporting Falun Gong supporters who were pretty much a society of people out in China that practice peace, meditation. It's good stuff, and it directly challenges the Communist Party in China. And you guys have probably seen the video where you have that protester out in the middle of the road, and there's tanks coming down the road, and you have that one person that's just standing in front of the tank, not moving. That was a Falun Gong supporter. So this is pretty much where the Epoch Times started. They were trying to get the right view of these Falun Gong supporters, cutting through fake news, really telling people what was going on out there. And these Falun Gong supporters, too, guys, there's videos out there. These people were rounded up, killed, and they were used for to sell their organs. And a shit ton of other bad stuff happened to them. So this is a big reason why they started going into creating the paper that they are, and now they're huge. And it pretty much talks about how they're big on Facebook, and now they're a huge supporter of Trump and what they're doing. And, of course, the mainstream media will attack anybody and anything that supports Trump, right? So let's see. At the same time, its network of news sites and YouTube channels has made it a powerful conduit for the internet's fringier conspiracy theories, including anti-vaccination propaganda and QAnon, to reach the mainstream. The Epic Media Group, along with Shun Yun, a dance troupe known for its ubiquitous advertising and unsettling performances, make up the outreach effort of Falun Gong, a relatively new spiritual practice that combines ancient Chinese meditative exercises, mysticism, and often ultra-conservative cultural worldviews. Falun Gong's founder has referred to Epic Media Group as our media, and the group's practice heavily informs the Epic Times coverage, according to former employees who spoke with NBC News. And Hurley said Falun Gong practitioners saw communism everywhere. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, movie star Jackie Chan, and former United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan were all considered to have sold themselves out to the Chinese government, Hurley said. This kind of coverage foreshadowed the news organizations embraced conspiracy theories like QAnon, the overreaching theory that there's an evil cabal of deep state operators and child predators out to take down the president. So right there, guys, you wonder why the mainstream media will not take on Epstein when it did break. There was no one talking about it because it completely contradicts their fucking narrative, the deep state's narrative. Of course, you're going to have NBC News saying the overreaching theory of an evil cabal of deep state operators and child predators and out to take down the president. Guys, how many stories have I showed you about child predators being arrested? All the laws being changed to kill child predators once they've been arrested, directly killed, and not being held on death row for 10 years. They want immediate action to kill these fucking douchebags. It is so rabidly pro-Trump, Hurley said, referring to the Epic Times. Devout practitioners of Falun Gong believe that Trump was sent by heaven to destroy the Communist Party. And he is destroying the Communist Party. He's destroying it here in this country as we speak. The paper's Spygate special coverage section, which frequently sits atop its website, theorizes about a grand, years-long plot in which former Obama and Clinton staffers, a handful of magazines and newspapers, private investigators, and government bureaucrats plan to take down the Trump presidency. While the Epic Times usually straddles the line between an ultra-conservative news outlet and a conspiracy warehouse, some popular online shows created by Epic Times employees and produced by NTD cross the line completely and spread far and wide. And guys, I've mentioned these guys many times. A lot of you already know them. They go after Edge of Wonder. And I couldn't believe this. One such show is Edge of Wonder, a verified YouTube channel that releases new NTD-produced videos twice every week and now has more than 33 million views. In addition to claims that alien abductions are real and the drug epidemic was engineered by the deep state, which it was, the channel pushes the QAnon conspiracy theory, which falsely posits that the same Spygate cabal is a front for global pedophile ring being taken down by Trump, which we all know is true. One QAnon video titled QAnon 7 Facts the Media Mainstream Won't Admit has almost 1 million views on YouTube. Other videos in the channel's QAnon playlist, which include videos about 9/11, conspiracy theories, and one titled 13 Bloodlines and Their Diabolical Endgame, gained hundreds of thousands of views each. And here, guys, they mention this douchebag, Travis View. And they call him a researcher and podcaster who studies the QAnon movement. If you guys see this scumbag on Q, all he does is troll anybody that follows Q. He has no idea what he's talking about. He's a complete tool bag. And and as soon as not that they have any credibility at all, but when they mention guys like this, it's just like you just turn the shit off. So, Travis View, a researcher and podcaster who studies QAnon, said the Epic Times has sanitized the conspiracy theory by pushing Spygate, which drops the wildest and more prurient details of QAnon while retaining its conspiratorial elements. QAnon is highly stigmatized among people trying to push the Spygate message. They know how toxic QAnon is. They call QAnon toxic, which is hilarious. Spygate leaves on the spiritual elements, the child sex trafficking, but it's certainly integral to QAnon narrative. Guys, again, another example of mainstream media going after people who are on target. And what I mean that is anybody that is speaking the truth. Guys like Edge of Wonder have a gigantic following. I watch their videos twice a week. I also subscribe to their other online channel that's on their own network, their own platform, which I pay $10 a month for, which I gladly pay $10 a month for because they are afraid of getting deplatformed on YouTube. So they go there to make content that cannot be put on YouTube, and they put the really, really evil shit on there that they can't talk about, and they really spell out the truth. If you think about their YouTube channel, it's like the PG-13 version. Their network is like the rated R version, where they can actually talk without censorship about really what's going on out there, guys. And you got to get on it. It's edgeofwonder.tv. You got to get on it. But again, guys, another example of mainstream media attacking Q on the forefront. And again, if Q was a LARP, all made up conspiracy theories, why is the mainstream media geared toward destroying and smearing Q and people that follow it, like Edge of Wonder with Ben? I forgot the other guy's name. It's really bad. But guys, the two guys that are on Edge of Wonder and the QAnon movement, again, being smeared. It's ridiculous. So, quick article here about Greenland, guys. This came out in June, but you guys already heard the news that Trump was interested in buying Greenland. Obviously, probably for, where it's located in the world. But I was like, there's got to be other reasons why Trump would even mention buying Greenland. So I found this article and I thought it was interesting. It says, Greenland seeks to break silence around child sexual abuse. In Greenland, the scourge of child sexual abuse has emerged as a pressing concern, with nearly 1 in 3 having suffered abuse in their childhood, and efforts to combat it hampered by a persistent conspiracy of silence. The sparsely populated autonomous Danish territory is confronted with major social problems, including high levels of suicide and alcoholism. The government highlights alcohol and hash abuse as the #1 health concern. But the recent airing of a documentary on sexual abuse on Danish public television has put the spotlight on the issue, renewing the Arctic Island's commitment to tackling abuse of children. I was about 6 years old. I was woken up in the middle of the night because someone was touching me. Terrible stuff. I hate reading this shit. Tesla also reflects another troubling statistic, with as many as 1 in 5 people committing suicide. Many children are victims of sexual abuse and experience violence in their homes. For many of them, this leads to a life full of problems and anxieties, which leads many young people to commit suicide. Guys, Trump is tackling the child sex trafficking, child abuse, especially everything going on with Epstein. All these pedophiles are being arrested in large mass numbers. So I saw this. I thought maybe this is a huge reason why Trump would also want to buy Greenland, not only because it's a rich little country, where it's located in the world is strategic. I genuinely think he wants to help these children. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know if it's a prime minister, whoever the leader of Greenland is, said they're not interested in having America buy Greenland. So, which I understand, but I thought that was interesting. All right. And just a little quick update on Epstein. I'm going to play this video for you guys. Here we go. This is from The Dirty Truth. This says, the Jeffrey Epstein saga continues. His former cellmate said guards are threatening him to keep his mouth shut or else. Here we go.
With new concerns about conditions at the jail where he died, and new reports about his ex-cellmate, who is now reportedly fearing for his own life. That's where we'll pick up the story now with the latest. RT correspondent John Huddy is joining us from Miami. John, what is Epstein's former cellmate really concerned about in particular?
Well, Manila, there are reports coming out that this accused former cop-turned-murderer, by the way, is unable to transfer to another New York City jail, and for now he's got to remain at the Metropolitan Correctional Center, the MCC in Manhattan. His name is Nicholas Tartaglione, and he shared a cell with Epstein briefly at the MCC until Epstein was found laying on his jail cell floor July 23rd, later saying that he had been attacked. Well, Tartaglione's lawyer said that was false and that Epstein had tried to commit suicide and was actually found by Tartaglione. Well, the two men were eventually separated, and Epstein's body, as we now know, was found in a cell August 10th, with his death being ruled as a suicide by hanging. Well, the New York Post reports, Manila, that Tartaglione has asked to transfer to another lockup facility, specifically Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, but he's barred from that location because, according to prosecutors, he had a previous undisclosed disciplinary infraction. We don't know any more than that. The prosecutors haven't elaborated. But now there are reports that the guards at the MCC are harassing Tartaglione, who's in jail for a quadruple drug murder, and that he's been warned to basically keep his mouth shut about the Epstein case or else. That, according to his lawyers at this point. The Department of Justice is investigating Epstein's death and the events leading up to it, specifically, as we've been reporting extensively here on RT, the staffing issues at the MCC and throughout the Bureau of Prisons, for that matter, that may have resulted in shortages at these jails, at the MCC, and basically things falling through the cracks. Specifically, in Epstein's case, guards not checking on him every 30 minutes. And why, another big question, why he was taken off suicide watch at the jail to begin with, Manila.
He was told to keep his mouth shut or else. This is the guards, right, guys? Crazy shit. Not that this guy, this ex-cop, like I said, this ex-cop who lived probably about 15 minutes from where I lived, where I live now. Crazy stuff. And this tweet drop here said, on the Jeffrey Epstein investigation, as many as 20 correctional officers who work at the Metropolitan Correctional Center received a grand jury subpoenas this past Friday. Yep, there you go. So what's going on here? Heads are going to be rolling. You guys can probably hear my son. He talks and I talk. It is what it is. But anyways, guys, this is the end of the episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. I know we covered a lot of topics here. And it's really good stuff. It's good to get away from Epstein for a little while. I had to drop it in there for a little bit. I'm going to play a video at the end of all this, really funny, with Epstein and Bill Clinton. So you can get some humor at the end of your day here. And if you guys like the content, please just hit that like button. It's just one click. It takes a second. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and share it with your family and friends, guys. It's super important to support independent media because it's all we have now. The TV is the dinosaur, guys. The mainstream media is the dinosaur of news. This is all we have. This is why I'm doing it, to get the truth out there, and that is what it's all about. So until then, guys, you'll be seeing me throughout the week. And until then, stay woke.
Balls! The plane! The plane! Welcome to Epstein Island. Yeah, welcome to Epstein Island, where all your Ted Bundy fantasies can come true. Ooh, the new guests are coming. I'm so excited. You promise you're not gonna tell nobody about this, though, right? What happens on Epstein Island stays on Epstein Island. Hallelujah! Our guests are arriving. Let's go greet them. Oh my gosh! That's Prince Andrew, the Duchess of York, Harvey Weinstein, and Elton John? Just another day on Epstein Island. Hey, Jeffrey, can I ask you a question? Sure. Are the girls here at Epstein Island here voluntarily? Do you want them to be here voluntarily? Well, could I say yes, but think something else? Sure. That's what Epstein Island's all about. I love this place. Oh, look there. It's Bill Clinton. Say, hey there, Billy boy. All right, just took about 6 gas station boner pills. I am ready to party. Laughing like children, living like lovers, rolling like thunder under the covers. Hey, Elton, didn't you write that song here? Oh, I can't wait to meet him. It's gonna be a fun weekend. And, we can do, anything we want to, right? That's correct. Anything you want, said Epstein Island. All right. Hey, the FBI don't come around here, do they? Are you kidding? I own the FBI, and, so does your wife. Oh, yeah, I forgot.